first started showing interest in coaching?
I went to Australia when I was 21, and when I got back I got involved with the local club with the underage side of things in Rathdowney, Clover United in Rathdowney in County Laois. I just found that I really enjoyed it. I liked coaching young players, seeing young players improve. We had one particular young player in the club who was progressing through the Irish international scene and different things like that, so I got heavily involved in his development and tried to further myself as a coach so that I could kind of help young players get better and better, and really enjoyed it.
How have you found your time in Carrick so far?
Overall, brilliant. A few lows obviously, but I suppose by and large we overachieved last season very much, so I've really enjoyed it. The lads have been absolutely tremendous. I mean, it would have been very easy. I kind of came in out of nowhere. I haven't got a previous playing reputation. I haven't been operating at this level before. It would have been very easy for the lads to be disrespectful towards me, but they've been absolutely brilliant. Results by and large have been great, so really enjoying it so far.
Are you proud of what the team achieved last year then, your first season in the league?
Oh, definitely. I mean, as you've probably heard me say before, we talked at the start of the season about a kind of a points tally that we could aim for, and where we thought what finishing position we thought that we'd end up on based on that points tally. We overachieved in all those respects. I think we were towards, as the season was going on, we were getting closer to a decent brand of football, which we hopefully will get even closer to again this year. So yeah, first season was absolutely brilliant. Really delighted with the lads.
What was your highest and your lowest moment of the first season?
Both Waterford United. Obviously the opening game of the season was beyond anybody's beliefs. I mean, it was absolutely incredible, an amazing result altogether, and it set us off on a great run of results and got us off to a fantastic start. Unfortunately, the downside, or the most disappointing game, was also Waterford United. It was probably the only game all season long. We had a few disappointing performances and a few disappointing results, but that one was shocking. We just really never turned up, and I was embarrassed, as were the lads, for our performance that day. So that was disappointing, but more highs than lows.
Just kind of onto our pre-season preparations for this year then. Were you happy with the Rovers game on Friday night?
We've just had a chat about it upstairs actually. By and large, very happy, yeah. To only concede one goal from open play against a team as strong as what they had out. I mean, they were pretty much their strongest starting 11, apart from possibly the Carl Shepherd who they brought back in. I thought in the first 2/3 of the field, I thought our build-up play was as good, if not better, than I've ever seen it, and shown that we're moving in the right direction. We just need to be a little bit more clinical in the final third, but yeah, a lot of positives to take away from it.
The upcoming trip to St Mirren is not something you often see a League of Ireland side doing, going away for pre-season. How did that trip come about? Yeah,
it was great actually. As part of the FAI Pro licence, you've got to head away to a professional club for 4 or 5 days. So the club that I ended up going to with 2 or 3 other guys on the course was St Mirren. I found the club over there to be an absolutely brilliant setup for a team operating off quite a small budget. It really is run superbly well, and I just found our manager Danny Lennon to be a really excellent guy, from a management point of view, coaching point of view, communication, everything. He's spot on with everything, and I picked up an awful lot from him over the few days. So I stayed in touch with Danny when I got back, just kind of to and fro, and I was trying to plan to head off somewhere with the lads. So I just threw it out to Danny, would he mind, would it be possible to arrange to train over at their facilities while we're over there and possibly give us a game against the academy, and he said no problem, so we're really looking forward to it now.
Kind of then leading into the season, what would your ambitions be for this season?
Well, I suppose not to dampen any expectation or anything, but as I say, we have overachieved very much in my eyes in the first season. I'd look at this season in 2 halves. The first half of the season is about trying to consolidate what we did last year. If we can be 4th, 5th, thereabouts at the halfway point in the season, then maybe we can start getting a little bit excited and talking about promotion and all those kind of things. But I think it's far too early to start talking about that yet. You don't want to be halfway through a season and find yourself down around the bottom of the table. First half of the season, consolidation, 4th, 5th, and then we'll kind of readjust and maybe reset our sights if we've managed to achieve the first aim.
Danny Furlong was a big loss to the squad this year, so kind of how do you plan on kind of combating that? It was obviously a big goal scoring threat for us.
Absolutely. Danny had, I suppose, after an initial slow enough start at the beginning of the season, and then obviously the tragedy with what happened as well. The first half of the season, Danny probably wouldn't have been too happy with the first half of the season, but second half of the season he just caught fire and he was brilliant. It seemed like he couldn't miss. He will be a loss. There's absolutely no point in saying that he won't be a loss. Of course he will. In saying that, Tom Elms over the first kind of had the opposite to Danny. He'd probably argue, of course, that it's to do with playing time, as with Danny in the first half of the season. But Tom, over the first half of the season, scored an awful lot of goals for us. He really did get an awful lot of goals for us. He's a guy who would be hoping to step up to the plate and fill that gap. We're quite lucky in that an awful lot of the players we have who were playing attacking midfield, wide positions at club level, at junior club level before coming in here, their natural positions would have actually been centre forward. I mean, Joey Mulcahy at Evergreen would have been a centre forward. Dean Brothers would have played centre forward for Freebooters. Aidan Keenan would have played centre forward for the Kilkenny Oscar trainer side. Glenn Haw is perfectly comfortable at centre forward. So we've got an awful lot of options in that area, but it's up to the lads to kind of maybe share the goals around a little bit more rather than relying on any one individual too heavily.
And what do you see as the biggest challenge for the upcoming 2013 season?
Again, just to reiterate what I said, I suppose on the idea of the first half of the season, you often hear people talking about the famous second season syndrome, and we've got to very much go out of our way to make sure that we're not affected by that ourselves. When a new manager comes in, there can be a lot of goodwill towards him and that kind of thing, and sometimes when people start getting a bit familiar with the managerial setup, the work rate, the effort, the enthusiasm can drop in the second season. You see it at various different levels. We've got to concentrate hugely in the first half of the season to make sure that we maintain what we've did this season. I don't expect the lads to be top of the table. I don't even expect them to be second at the halfway point of the season. What I do expect is that they maintain what they've done this year. They're sitting in around 4th or 5th and they're ready to push on and make a big challenge. We don't want the season to be over before it started.